New Wave Stools, Wonderland pinball gameplay, and why I haven't pre-ordered the iconic XXL yet. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened this week in home arcades, episode 175. This is also going to be the post-game report from the AFC Championship game. NFC and AFC Championship game happened today. They're both over. Little surprise. The two teams that everybody thought were going to win actually won. So it's all set. It's ready to go. Kind of anticlimactic. Depends on, I guess who you're a fan of. If you're a fan of the Eagles and the Chiefs, you're probably very happy. This is going to be probably a really good Super Bowl. We're going to get to my Super Bowl predictions in a minute, but before we get into all that, it seems very fitting. Let's talk about what I'm drinking tonight. Cracked open a fresh bottle of Bullet Bourbon tonight. I'm going to need it to nurse the wounds, the heartache. Basically, both of the teams that I wanted to win lost. Welcome to being a Cowboys fan. Cheers, everybody. It is awesome to see. I mean, just football in general. The Super Bowl, it's a big deal. For Americans, obviously, I have people, that are not Americans that are in this audience, maybe really don't give a crap. And those people are going to get a chance to have their voices be heard tonight in the poll question. That's right. Every single week we have a poll question. This week is no different. We're going to go off topic slightly. We may have a second poll question at like in the middle of the show, because I don't know. This was kind of a knee-jerk, but here's my question. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Now that we know the two teams are going to play, it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who do you think is going to win? You got three options. That's right, three. Fox, that doesn't make sense. Bear with me. Vote for the Eagles, vote for the Chiefs, or vote for, I don't care, I'm here for arcades. What are you doing? And so far, with basically a 50-50 split, my faith in humanity has been restored. So let your voices be heard. We're probably going to change this poll midway through the conversation, but I had to throw that up there. It's fresh. It just happened. Now we know who's going to be in it. And I think that, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I think that the Eagles are probably going to win. I don't like the Eagles. I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't like the Eagles at all. I really don't like the Chiefs, but I think it's just kind of fun to hate on them. I really don't have anything against them other than Taylor Swift, which we all have that in common, don't we? Yeah, we do. So I think that, but honestly, the way the two teams are playing right now, I think the Eagles are probably going to win. They're pretty dominant. They've been killing everybody, and they don't have a lot of weaknesses on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be the Eagles, but that's just my opinion. Let your voice be heard. Vote in either which way you want. And I kind of like the way it's shaping up so far. 45 votes. Yeah, keep voting, guys. Let me know. And I'll tell you what, here's what I'll do. If by the middle of the show, if the don't care, I'm here for arcades is winning, if it has above 50%, then we'll go ahead and end the poll and do a new poll. Because I got another question that just kind of, actually, it's going to be coming from the chat. The question actually came from the chat. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so we talked about what I'm drinking. We talked about the heartache, the pain, the misery that is football. Something that's not pain or misery, but it does make me kind of blue. It's Big Blue. Capcom's Big Blue cabinet is coming together really well. Let me go ahead and show you a little sneak peek. This is behind the scenes, kids. I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. If the cameras are going to operate and they're going to cooperate, come on, baby. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. It's just, come on. And that's not going to work either. Well, there we go. Isn't that just delightful? Isn't that just perfect? This was working before, and now it's not. So bear with me. Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. Okay, so there is the current lineup. It's not obviously done yet. It's in pieces. It's kind of like Voltron minus a few of the lions, but it's good. It's just going to come together. I promise you, it's going to happen. It's been a lot of fun, guys. It's definitely been a labor of love for sure. Working on this, getting this collection together. You got Big Red, you got Big Blue, Big Black, I guess, my Raiden cabinet, and then next to that is Road Blasters. It's going to be going through a little bit of a metamorphosis, a little bit of a change itself. There was a trip that Justin Console Kits and I had planned right after CES. It didn't happen because unfortunately, weather prevented us from getting together and doing this cool road trip. We had to postpone it. It is happening this weekend. That's right. This weekend is the big trip. We're going to meet up with Console Kits in Nashville. And we're going to pick up a couple pinball machines for him. Going to go back to his house. So it's going to be like all day driving Saturday because his house is in Iowa. That's right. Tennessee to Iowa in a day. Drop off his pinball machines, and I'm going to pick up Road Blasters and bring it home and then use my powers to take those 2 Road Blasters cabinets and make one perfect Road Blasters cabinet. And then I will put together all the pieces in the other Road Blasters cabinet and sell that as a project cabinet to somebody local. He's got a pretty good cabinet too, guys. So, you know, it might have a few flaws, but I think it'll be a good pickup for anybody who is interested in Road Blasters. I think we got a couple Road Blasters fans in the chat tonight for sure. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. I know it's a little bit late, but I thought that this would be the best of both worlds. Let everybody watch the game that cared about watching the game. Let everybody watch the game, and then after the game, we can sit back, relax, and talk because I didn't want to push it another day. I want to talk to you tonight. So here we are, talking to you. And who are we talking to? The first 10 comments of the night, absolutely. Coming in the number 1 spot. Zero Cool. Tonight, you are not zero. Tonight, you're number 1. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. And grabbing the coveted number 1 spot, baby. Have a good show. Coming in the number 2 spot is Wrights Retrocade. What's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Got my pre-order in. I hope that without Arcade 1-Up holding him back, John's going to be able to release some sweet products. Absolutely. Absolutely. Met the guy. Spent some time with the guy. You can't deny, whether you like him or don't like him, you can't deny that his passion for authenticity and arcades in general is absolutely there. Coming in the number 3 spot is JR. What's going on, buddy? Hey, everyone. Good to see you. Coming in the number 4 spot is Huge Success Guild. Happy Sunday, Fox. Looking forward to the show. Ever thought about streaming yourself playing a full run through on the Star Wars Battle Pod? Yes, I currently am working on audio setups. The video I got going just fine. I can do the same camera setup I have now, and I can do the camera setup, and that's fine. You can see it, but hearing it is a little bit of a challenge. Trying to get a microphone that's going to capture all of it, and I don't want the sound to be muffled, and you're just not going to be able to hear it. And I know YouTube is probably going to demonetize the video because of all the John Williams music in it, but I don't care. I want you to hear it. So I am working on that, and this is going to be the streaming setup. Visual, video, and audio that I'm going to use to play all of my arcades. Now that the arcade is full of games, now it's time to spend some time playing some of these games on real hardware, and I want you to check it out, and I want you to enjoy yourself watching me make a fool of myself on most games. But I'm getting pretty good on BattlePod. I'm a very good average player, but that is absolutely coming. I promise. Fingers crossed, right? Coming in the number 5 spot is Molar Medic. What's going on? Another Road Blasters fan. Hello, everyone. That home pin is looking interesting. Very interesting indeed. Can't wait to talk about that in a little more detail tonight. Now that we have something a little more concrete to actually talk about. It's kind of exciting. Coming in the number 6 spot is Sir Sega. Yo, Fox, hope you got that Big Blue safely in your arcade. No pre-orders for me on the Iconic. I did buy some New Wave Toy Stools. See you tonight. Yes, I was able to get through. If you watch my short videos, you know some of the challenges I was facing. Just getting the main body of the cabinet down here. Some snow, some ice. It's not all melted here in the Cincinnati area, and it's built up. So I had to break through some of that stuff. I had to bust through to get the cabinet downstairs, and I got it in here, and it's in place. It's looking great. We're so close. And then once I get all of it assembled, I'm going to have about 2,000 video clips to put together. But my goal for this is to give you one video. I've done video series in the past working on these cabinets, and those videos have done pretty good. But I think a lot of people would like to just have one video to sink their teeth in, and that's what we're going to do. It's a restoration video. It's not a cabinet that's in bad shape. So it didn't really need that much. So that's the goal. That's the plan for sure. Coming in number 7 spot is Angelo P. What's up, brother? Great to see you. Evening, Fox and chat. I'm lucky number 7 tonight. Yes, you are. I'm looking forward to seeing more info on the Wonderland pinball machine. I'm hoping it plays well and is successful. That's one of those things about physical games, physical pinball. There's a lot that you don't know if you don't get your hands on it and play it. We'll talk about that a little bit later for sure. Hey, coming in the number 8 spot is Bob. What's going on, buddy? Great to see you as always. Hi, all. Coming in the number 9 spot is Mad Gear Arcade. Must be Sunday. It is. Yes, it is. And coming in the number 10 spot is Frank D. What's going on, buddy? My Ambernic 5 RG34XX came in today. The one that looks like a Game Boy Advance. It's a very good one. I actually got one of those myself. Looking forward to playing around with it for sure. Fourth Horseman is here. Jay is here. David Demon is here. Gino7823 Iffy is also here. Dan Z. Jason moderating like a mofo. He's in the house. Milkman Classics. Ardith Bay, thank you so much for being here. Carnby 15. Vader 86. David D. Is the real Israel Gaming has a quandary, a question, a sales proposal. Yo, what's up, 19K Box and everyone? If you ever decide to sell that beautiful X-Men 97 custom Konami cab, please consider me. LOL. $500 is yours. Email me. We'll figure it out. Mike Hawkerts is also here. Mr. Clutch coming in clutch as always. Paul Minderman, assuming it doesn't change much from the prototype. The XXL is everything the community has been asking for except new games. I've pre-ordered to show support for XL and encourage more. I think it has new games. I think it's good. Paul, it's good. It's everything you said. And I would consider those to be new games. Alpha is something that, if you count what Evercade did, okay, sure. But you have Street Fighter 3. Third Strike is on there. That's something that hasn't been released by a home arcade company yet. So there are new games, never before released home arcade games. So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Nozapalooza. Yeah, Nozapalooza is also here. Tim York. Dark Kick is also here. Jason, Doug Wynn, what's going on, buddy? Marine Fitty, how the hell are you? Great to see you, as always. Great to see a $1.99 super chat from the Twisted One himself, Twisted Gaming TV. $1.99, lots of foxes and a punch. I appreciate it. That's nice of you, but you know where you go. The first one always goes to the pit.
Finish him. Molina wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Novasonic 23 is here. How the hell are you, man? Great to see you. MSU Rich, Show Gecko. We got Paul coming in again. We got Cyber Siles 2077, Gramps Arcade, John McGovern. I think I mess up your name every week, don't I? Chris NX North by Northwest is here. We got everybody else. I think AZ Arcade. Great to see you, man. Good to see you here. Jacob V Faust. Yeah, here we go. Good to see you, brother. Love to see you here. Chris Ford is also here. I think we get Jeremy. Did I say hi to you? I hate Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce with his 2 Band-Aids. I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. Thanks, man. I know what you mean. Big Red, not Big Read. Yeah, there you go. I get every time I read something, it's big because it's quite a challenge. The words blue coming together, right? Coming together slowly but surely. But I'm really, really happy about the progress, guys. And it's going to be a really cool collection to have. Faux show. CGM is also here. James, who's mildly annoyed at some things, is also here saying, hey. He's not one of the monkeys. He's just saying, hey. Coming in clutch as always. Also coming in clutch is a $2 super chat from Moeller the Medic. Thank you so much for $2 super chat, brother. Did I hear Road Blasters Project Cab available soon? Absolutely. Next week, buddy. That's right. Strap in. You might be coming to the good old Cincinnati. I'll have a deal for you. Hit me up in the emails and whatnot. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat, brother. Really do appreciate it. And here you go.
Let's go. KO! Wolverine win! Rookie.
TMC New York is also here. Dustin, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you. Saved by zero. That's a good thing. It's a good thing to be saved in any regard. S7R guitar. S7R guitar? I feel like if you say it fast, it makes more sense. S7R guitar. S7R guitar. I'm probably spending too much time on this. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. I love this community, and we love having you, buddy. Absolutely. And I also love a $5 super chat. This one coming to us from Enrico Palazzo. Palazzo? Thank you so much for your $5 super chat, but keep retro gaming alive. I'm doing my part, brother. You do the same, and it will absolutely live forever because classics just become more classical as they age. I think it's the way that works. Maybe.
Can't you do any better?
Jim Pacers fan coming in with the VR questions. I love it. It's like all VR all the time. My Quest 2 does not have enough space. If I upgrade, what is the magic storage number? 128, 256, 512, etc., etc., etc. I think 256 is probably the sweet spot. That's usually where I am on smartphones. I mean, you deal with 128. I'm an iPhone guy, so when I get the iPhone, my next iPhone is going to be, I'm going to upgrade to a 15. I know the 16's out, but I'm afraid of AI. It will take over your soul. So I'm going to go with the 15 because it's the first one with the USB Type-C, and then I can plug in external drive, and then I'll just save all my videos and stuff to that, and then that way the 128 won't be that big a deal. But I don't think you can have that option when you're talking about your Quest. So maybe it's time to upgrade, buddy. Go ahead and get you a 3. Get you a 3 and the one with the little the pancake little cushions on the face that everybody's so fond of, and you will love it. Spelled with gotcha. Star guitar. There you go. Spelled with the 7. Got you. I see. I was overcomplicating it, wasn't I? I apologize. Steve Sales here. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, listen. Go ahead and vote on the poll. Let's just go ahead and take a look. We're 17 minutes in. Where is the poll question? Oh, we have the don't care. I'm here for arcades dipping down just below 50%. So if you want me to start a new poll that's arcade centric, maybe it'll be more about the iconic arcade. Make sure that you vote for I don't care. I'm here for arcades. Well, if that's over 50%, in about 15 minutes, we'll do another poll. If not, we'll just let it ride. We'll just see how all that shakes out. Okay, you know what I'm talking about tonight, or you know what I'm drinking tonight. You know what the poll question is. You've seen Big Blue, and we got some topics to get into. We got to just ram through them real quick because I know everybody's tired and you just want to go to bed. No, we're staying up all night. That's right. We're gonna stay up all night. We're gonna slide into right now the first topic. Okay. I'm making deals tonight, kids. Making deals tonight. Definitely one of the GOATs. I appreciate it. Thank you. I've been around for a long time. Maybe flip phones. Those were the days, buddy. Those were the days. I still have my Motorola Razr. The one, the Miami Ink version with the little dragon on it. That thing was cool. That thing was very cool. So cool. Well, for the time it was cool. You know. But speaking of cool, let's talk about Stools. I don't know. That was a weird segue. Specifically, New Wave Toy Stools. One of the little accessories that I have 4 of these guys right here for my arcade because I have 4 arcades, New Wave Toys over here. Everything else is accessories. And these are really cool. So you got these little metal legs, you know, and these things are about $19, $15 if you catch them on sale. And they're a fine little thing. They got a little pad, you know, they got some cool designs on them. I've got the 4 different versions. I've got obviously this one. Oh, let me over here. Got the Romstar. And then I've got just a standard black and a red one. So, you know, they're fine. Are they showstoppers or something you have to have? Not necessarily. Not everybody or not everybody likes to sit on a stool and play a game. I don't normally do that either. Even when I had them for my arcade one-ups, they were kind of there, but I would just move them out of the way. I'd always stand up and play. That's just the way the American arcade games are played. That's the best way they are played. But when you're talking about something like, you know, a candy cab, you really need to sit down. You got to have something to sit on. So New Wave Toys, they've been coming out some stuff. I've been waiting for more cabinets. I've been waiting for my pinball machine to come out. That would be really nice. Really change up the look over here in the miniature arcade. But they're not really announcing new cabinets per se, but tons of accessories. Go ahead and take a look at some of the many different accessories that we are being exposed to right now. We have the potential to buy. Check this out. Everything. So it's arcade atmosphere. There's still 7 days left on this, which is pretty cool because, I mean, if you want to add accessories to your little arcade, you got all this stuff inspired by the Timeout arcade from back in the day. You got all the accessories. It's just a lot of it's just a lot of money. $255 if you want to get the whole thing, though. If you're really into this, they have these packages here. You can get some of the individual stuff, like $50 if you want to just get like the brick thing in the background. It's fine. Some little, it even comes with little outlets and stuff. You can even get Ricky. Yeah, he'll be here to give you a hard time about running in his arcade, giving you quarters and stuff, the signs and everything. But they came out with some more of these stools, and these are pretty cool. I mean, I like these. Like I said, I have several of these in my arcade, but I don't know that I need to have really any more of these. But some of these, this is what I want to show you real quick. This one was kind of cool. This Dirty Donnie edition, not a very complex, design at all, but it is limited edition. So as you know, when something is limited, you have to go get it, right? You have to buy it. It's in the Geneva Convention. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So I like this design. This is the one that I got, the white one with the little whatever. This is less, I think, less dramatic. And I already have a black stool over there, so why do I need another one? So with a slightly different design. I know it's limited, but I thought maybe just because it's limited, I don't have to get all of them. Kind of wish I would have got this one, but I didn't because these are like $20 each. So, I'm not really going to buy them all, right? I'm not, this is not Pokemon, but so I got the white one here. And then I thought that once again, if you're talking about authenticity, New Wave Toys is really just leading the charge. I would love to learn the process of this. So this is their Distressed or the Overhaul edition, in line with like their Survivor series arcades, where they're a little bit banged up, a little bit beat up. You got a flickering light effect. And I really kind of kicked myself for not getting that one. I forget, I think it was Frenzy was the one that was a Survivor series. I can't remember. But I kind of wish that I would have at least maybe one of those, that was kind of beat up. This is sort of the same thing. And yeah, I would love to know the process. Like, what did you like just... You sit here, did you like go in and like slice the vinyl, or did you have to like beat the hell out of it, put it like in a machine and see how many times it would actually, distress or compress, based on how many times you jammed it with a hammer or something? Or did they like heat it up and have it kind of melt and tear a little bit? So that's kind of cool if you're going for something a little authentic. And yeah, the little two included pieces of duct tape. I mean, come on. But you can see some of the finish here on the top, the cracking of the vinyl. That's something if you've had a real bar stool for any length of time, you know what that looks like. Here's the 2 pieces of duct tape applied, which is just great. I also got, when I got my little coin cup, the little 7-Up cup or whatever, it came with bubble gum. And so I have a couple pieces of bubble gum stuck on the top of like Cubert and the top of Dragon's Lair. And then I've got one piece of bubble gum stuck actually under one of my stools. I think it's the black one. So a little stuff like that is fine if it's not very expensive. And these aren't expensive if you just buy one. But to get the whole set is kind of crazy. So the black looks good. The red, I like the red because the red has a little more going on. You see it's like distressed. It's like it's got like black smears on the top of it. Let me show you a little bit. Check that out. So it looks like a very aged vinyl. I would love to, seriously, I would love to know the process. Like, how did you do that? That's cool. Of course, you can see it standing next to like a Cubert or whatever. So, yes, Replicate not included. But that's not the one I got. I got this one. This is the one I bought today because I have, the original. I was one of the ones that jumped on the original, and this was really kind of a cool looking stool. And I thought, well, it would be kind of interesting to have the distressed version next to it. So you got the nice clean version, and then have the distressed version next to it with the duct tape and everything else. It just looks filthy. It just looks nasty. Put some duct tape on it, and that's pretty cool. Everything else is, they do have the original stools back, the red and the black. The non-distressed versions, they're $20. So that's cool. These are limited. I don't know how limited they're going to be, but I will say, like, the ones like this and the ones like the Romstar, once they sold out, they were gone and never to return. So you're probably going to want to jump on these, like these up here, if you care about this at all. One thing they are missing though of the just with the distressed version is maybe have is that rust? I don't know if I can. I don't know if that looks like. Is that actually rust? Maybe it is. Maybe that is a little brown looking color on it. Let me see. Let me see if I can see that. Yeah, it looks like it could just be a reflection. So you don't really see like a rust color on the chrome legs, but you kind of see it here. Barely, I would like to see maybe some rust on the actual screws that hold the legs on to kind of give it more of a look, or maybe even like mismatch. The feet on the very bottom. Can you see my? Yeah, you can see my mouse. These feet on the very bottom, maybe have them different colors, mismatched. Maybe like white and black or somewhere. Like one, fell off and they had to put a different color on or whatever. Maybe have them split a little bit. And that may be asking a little bit too much. Well, maybe we'd be asking too much from the distressed authenticity of our stools. Probably not the biggest thing in the world. If you're interested, the Zoltar is still available, so that's good. $150. That thing is pretty popular. I'm still thinking maybe I might get one of those. I don't know. I'm kind of running out of real estate over here. The Artomatic and the cigarette machine is still available, as well as the best change machine they offered. They offered this one. They offered the blue and white one. I know Twisted Chris, we were talking on his show that he got the blue and white one because he couldn't find this one. People wanted on eBay, want like $150 for it, but it is available now for $80. And let's see, they also got the boom boxes, the little cassette players, the coin. This thing is pretty cool. It comes with gum. Click on that so you can see what I'm talking about here. Comes with little pre-chewed wads of gum. I mean, it's obviously it's not actual gum that's been pre-chewed. It's just little fake plastic things. Little things that make your arcade just a little more authentic. The UV bases are on sale. Yeah, $10. So get those if you got any arcades. Some of these posters, I don't have all the posters, but I do have. Which one do I? Yeah, I don't have this one or this one, but I just ordered this one to round out my collection. I have a spot for one more poster, so that's going to go up there. So, so that's it from New Wave Toys. Nothing new as far as arcades. I really want some more arcades. We were talking about this once again over on Twisted Gaming TV show, talking about the different versions. And yes, the code for everybody, the code is VIP10 to get 10% off the stool. So when you order, make sure you put that in. I think it automatically was applied whenever I checked out, but make sure that you do that before you check out. Save 10% on those stools. Yeah, I think they're cool. No, it's painted on. Yeah, kind of brushed on like it. Well, and I think that's the way you do it. You don't want actual rust, but you could do like a dry brush. And once again, that's something you got to do manually. So that's probably expensive, but it is what it is. So I'd like to see a little bit of dry brushing of a rust effect. That'd be kind of cool. But here's the thing is, like, this is cool and the accessories are great, but I feel like we're getting too many accessories. I mean, it's like maybe there's too much of an emphasis on the accessories themselves. I mean, bringing some of the stools back, bringing the black and the red ones back, just the standard plain ones, that's fine. But to spend the time to make a custom limited edition set of stools when not everybody even buys these because it's not really a thing for all arcades, is a little bit. It's like it's okay, we get it, and this stuff is great, but I really want more arcade machines, more arcade games. I'd be willing if you come up with something cool, I'd be willing to get rid of the coin change machine and put that in there, or maybe get rid of 1943 and then buy something new. And I know we have some stuff coming out, but I'm looking for more things to be announced. Maybe it's a pre-announcement. Maybe it's not a pre-order yet, but it's a pre-announcement. Or maybe have a selection of cabinets by New Wave Toys. Do a poll. Have a selection of like 3 different cabinets that they're thinking about making. And then, let's see what people pick. Let's see what people gravitate towards. Have some sort of community outreach where we have some input into this. Is it going to be more 90s? Is it going to be, I don't know, a legit driving cabinet? I would love to see an actual driving cabinet. It would be really cool to have a Road Blasters, not the stand-up version, but the actual elongated red version that you sat in, like a little cockpit, because that's a fairly simple design, but it would look absolutely cool to have like that stretched out Road Blasters. That would be awesome. Or like a Stun Runner, I mean, maybe Tron you can't get because some of the licensing, and I get that. Maybe Street Fighter, well, they already did Street Fighter, but maybe Mortal Kombat and all that's a little bit out of reach. Go with some of these classic games that have really unique shapes, something a little bit different. So I am definitely in the mood for some kind of a light gun game, or not just really. You can have it can be something like T2 where the guns are actually mounted, um, uh, something like that. You can go back even further if you want. They don't have to actually be functioning light guns, which is something I think we need to get past. Maybe that's why they don't want to make some of these, because they won't be functional. But a little driving game could be fun. A little gas pedal you hit, and a little steering wheel. Those games are usually pretty simple. So I would love to see a driving cab, but we saw what My Arcade did with pole position. It'd be great to see something like that. Something simple. I mean, you could even have, what's the Super Off-Road with the 3 different steering wheels? That'd be great to see that. So I'm anxious to see what they're going to announce next. Crystal Castles is a great looking game. It's a great looking title, but it is, I'm not trying to sound derogatory, but it's just another stand-up arcade. I like to see something a little bit more of a departure. Zoltar was great. That's awesome. You got the first pinball machine coming out. That's great. I'd love to see what are they thinking for the next pinball? Are they going to be able to get something like an Attack from Mars? Or are they going to not do any more pinballs because of the hate they were getting from the community? Who exactly knows? Speaking of hate that we're getting from the community, let's check out the poll question. Oh, no. So for those of you that wanted to end the poll and start a new poll, I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to. It appears that we are only 46% that don't care. So let's just keep that going and see what you guys actually think. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Only 46%. Oh, 47%. Oh, 46%. Oh, it's back and forth. It's back and forth. A few more votes for I don't care, and we'll do another poll. 47. Come on, guys. All right, we're gonna let it go. We'll check on it in just a little bit. Like, you know what? The hell with it. This is my show. I lied. 47% is close enough. Let's go ahead and end the poll. And right now, we have 47% of you saying, let me see, 47% or 46% say that they don't care, that they are here for arcades. So let's get to the actual question, the actual answers. We have 28% saying the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. 25% say that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles are probably going to win. But I have no dog in the fight. So I'm just going to probably be just having a lot of fun and perhaps drinking just a little bit. So let's move on to the more appropriate poll question. This is something I don't think that I actually asked this before. But let's go ahead and start this poll question in regards to the iconic XXL. Okay. Yeah. Is that, no, that's too many eyes. I misspelled. That's too many eyes. Okay. Let's go with. And. Okay. I don't think I asked this. We're going to go over it anyway. Okay, here's a new poll question. And it is simply this. If you're going to pre-order the XXL, the iconic XXL, which one are you going to pre-order? Now, I don't care if you pre-ordered it right now or you just plan to pre-order, but you haven't gotten around to pre-ordering it just yet. Of the two, which one are you going to pre-order? Which one are you most likely to pre-order? The Street Fighter 2 version or the Street Fighter Alpha 2 version? Alpha 2 or Street Fighter 2, let me know. I want this is probably this, you can see why I just went ahead and said to hell with it and ended the other poll. This is the one I really want to know what everybody's thinking. Because as we all know, Michael B hates the side art of Street Fighter 2. And I don't think he's wrong. But some people think he is wrong and they love it. And they love Street Fighter 2. I'm a big fan of what they did with the Alpha 2 cab. But that's not arcade accurate, really, because they never made a cab that looked like that. Let your voice be heard. Now is the time for you to vote on that. So go ahead and get that. There's only 30 votes. Come on, guys. Come on. 30 votes? You can do better than that. So jump in the poll question over in the chat and vote. I really want to know what you're thinking. I'm not going to give you a third option of I'm not going to order either one. If you are going to pre-order, if you plan to pre-order, or if you just want to vote, maybe you don't plan to pre-order, but you're really close. And if you were going to, which one would you get? So just let me know. Let me know. If you're on the bubble, let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and, so we got that out of the way. We got the second poll question going. This has got to be a first? Nah, I've done this before. It's not a first. It's not a first. We've done multiple polls in the same show. but this is looking pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Let's talk about something weird, something crazy, something that nobody asked for, or did they ask for it? Or did they not even know that they wanted it? This is a really interesting idea, a really interesting product. It's like an answer to a question that maybe nobody was asking. I'm talking, of course, about the Wonderland Amusements pinball machine. It's a real pinball machine. It's a 3/4 size actual pinball machine, mechanical, like with a ball and everything, guys. This thing is functional. The guys, and I say the guys, it's a hell of a team. You got people from New Wave Toys. You got a lot of guys from old school Arcade 1-Up from back in the day, and you got guys from Think Up coming together, pulling their resources and experience, and making a real pinball machine. Now, they showed up at Pinball Expo and they didn't have much to show. They just had an empty shell. Very much just a concept. There wasn't a lot to talk about, but there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of, mostly from people that were just interested in something new. And there was a lot of excitement, I think, from my own perspective, of having I like real pinball, but I don't like it $7,000 worth, right? So I like it. I don't love it. But no one can deny the fact or the effect that real pinball would have on your home arcade, right? To have an actual pinball machine making the noises, you got the flippers, you got the solenoids, you have an actual pinball ball rolling around. It's something that I think everyone would like to add to their home arcade. And with a 3/4 scale arcade, which a lot of you have with your Arcade 1-Ups and all that, a real pinball machine, very expensive, would also be a little bit out of place. So what do? Well, you go for like visual pinball. You go with like one of the Arcade 1-Up visual pinballs. That's fine. They're like $500, and there were some problems with the PCBs overheating, but you could overcome that, and that probably scratches the itch, and you're fine. I had that. I had the Attack from Mars one, and it was fine. Or you could go with the At Games 4KP or the HD, but the 4KP is the new one. Looks much more accurate. It's got the feel. It's got a better shape. It looks more like a real pinball machine, and you can go with that. But these are all virtual pinball machines. What if you want to actually take a chance on a real pinball machine? Well, what do? If you don't want to spend $7,000 or $5,000 or even $3,000, what if you want to spend like $1,000? What if you're willing to spend $1,000 to take a chance on real pinball? You've had no options. So these guys come out with this idea, and we've seen concepts. Well, now we have an actual video. So let's go ahead and check out the gameplay video that they showed off this week. And this is, no, that's not what I want. This is interesting, guys. Interesting to see. Let's check it out together. Go ahead and share that. Let me maximize that. Yeah. And then we'll just hit play. And no sound. I just want to talk about this. So this is the overall shape that we saw before. The back box is a little bit weird, a little bit funky. I think they need to maybe change that. But here's the play field. And I mean, this is interesting. It's a real play field. Now, take a break on this. Some of the original artwork that came out was I'm just going to say it. Alice kind of looked like a zombie. She looked like she was maybe the undead, and that was not a good look. But everything else was pretty cool. I think that they changed this just a little bit. It looks like they lightened up her face a little bit. It's not as dark as it was before. So the back glass is, looks pretty cool. There's no boobies on the back glass, but that's okay. There's always room for boobies, in the next pinball machine. I've still got Peter talking about all this. Let's go to the actual play field. Here we go. Okay, so yeah. And like some of the guys said on the Super Game Room Dude show last night, like these toys here, like that's obviously not the final paint, but that's also not a 3D printed thing. So that's like an actual piece. It's molded and it's smooth. I mean, so that's kind of an interesting thing. And the whole ramp situation looks really cool. The deck of cards laying down, that's interesting. I mean, the ramps, I don't know if they're too aggressive. I don't know if it's not enough. I think they were showing some gameplay where the ball actually went up the ramp and kind of went off to the side. The little castle in the corner is cool. Is this going to be enough stuff on the playfield, though, to kind of keep us interested or keep you interested? I don't really know. How much of this stuff is interactive? But there's a lot of detail here. They've made a lot of progress in really kind of a short amount of time, just a few months. But I want to see more as far as like, what does this stuff do? Here's another good shot, good look at one of the ramps. The rails are pretty cool. Everything has been scaled down. The playfield looks really shiny, nice and polished. How is that going to hold up? You know, because usually I think those are just waxed. But let me pause that for a second. So here's a look at this. Obviously, the artwork is not done yet. I think they're going to bring in the flippers a little bit. But solenoids and everything seem to be working. How many bumpers are they going to have? All this stuff is stuff that I don't really know. You don't really know. I like to. Whoa, a little too far. Back this up just a little bit. There we go. Slowly. There we go. I like the little full color DMD there. That's cool. The back glass, I think, is just, is that a screen? I can't remember if that's going to be a screen or static. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, so this is kind of the latest and greatest on this. Let's look at some of the gameplay. Ball's moving around pretty quick, and you do have some bumpers and all that in the back. I mean, it looks okay. I mean, it's a pinball machine, right? It's moving around. It is moving pretty quick, though. I don't know if that's because the size of the ball or maybe the ramp, the actual play field is sloped a little too much, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. It's going to be a fast one for sure. And I'm not seeing a ton of interaction. I mean, you've got the Mad Hatter looks like he's just on a spring. He's just kind of swaying back and forth. I don't see a lot of, like I said, the playfield isn't really reacting with the ball that much. So we had the bumpers in the back kind of bouncing back and forth. But yeah, here's another. I think he actually hit the ramp there and it came off and landed back on the rail. So there's some work that needs to be done. The lights are just kind of flashing. Like I said, I'm not really seeing a ton of interaction right now. But this is, I mean, they're definitely making a lot of progress. This is not something that, it's the thing about physical anything, physical pinball machines, physical whatever. It's not just it's not just, okay, I have an LCD and we have to bring the game over from it's like a port of something else, and we just got to get it functioning. We just got to get it working. That's not the case. Like, you have to physically make, I mean, you can do things in CAD and 3D modeling, and you can make your best educated guess. But then sometimes you have to just play it and see how it feels. And then things have to change. And you're talking about some injection molding there, and a lot of these parts are going to have to be, they have to retool to make a change to that particular element of the game. So they're making some progress. I think that it looks cool. I'm excited to see what happens next. But, are you going to be, I mean, does this make you want to go spend $1,000 on this? I'm not quite there yet. I want to see this much more refined. But I do enjoy being part of the process this early on. And you got to love that. You got to love the fact that they're sharing this much with everybody, sharing this much with the community. Flippers have too much reverb after they flip. There is a bounce to the flipper. See, this is another thing. People with good pinball eyes are going to look at this and be much more critical than I am. I'm just very much just a casual player. I think the Alice pinball looks pretty cool. I think it does look cool too. Like it for the most part, but it's something I'd almost want to see in person before I'd commit. I think you have to. This is physical pinball. It's one thing to know how a video game plays and then just have that translate to another shell. So it wasn't a big stretch to see how Marvel versus Capcom was going to play on an arcade 1-up, because we had arcade 1-ups before that game came out. That game has been available on MAME and other downloadable, sources. You can find your ROMs, but they've also been available on consoles and everything else. So that game has been translated to multiple, places before. Your TV, now on an arcade 1-up. So we kind of knew what we're getting into. There's so much that we don't know about a physical pinball machine. A physical pinball game is just something that you really do have to, you got to feel it. You got to touch it. You have to play it. You have to see how the ball is reacting. It's not just a virtual thing. It's not just an LCD in a cabinet. This is something totally different. It's a big risk. There's a lot of different variables. And it is only $1,000. But that's still $1,000. For a real pinball machine, that's cheap. But, it's still $1,000. And there's some stern pinball machines out there that are not popular and don't sell. and lose their value very quickly. Yeah, I'm looking at you, John Wick, and your lack of guns. So is this going to work out for them? I don't know. It's a big risk. I would love to see some real pinball experts take a good, hard look at this and give them some real feedback, some real honest feedback. That's what I would want to do. And I would want this expert, whoever this person is, to give their stamp of approval and endorse this. So this person's brought in, they're a consultant. They play what they have so far. They make a bunch of different suggestions and alterations. And then Wonderland actually does that. And then this person now can endorse this table, or at least say, be signed on as a consultant and then talk about it, so that we have some sort of unbiased way to feel good about this purchase, right? Because if it's just up to me, if I play the thing, let's say they sent me one. Hey, Fox, we got one. We're going to send it to you. You can review it. I'll take it. I'll review it. But what is my opinion going to really be worth? Now, send it to somebody like Justin Console Kits or B Kong. They're a couple pin heads. They know what they're talking about. They own several real pinball machines. They spend a lot of time playing in competition and tournaments. They know what they're looking for. So their review would hold much more weight over something like my review, right? I'd just be like, it's kind of fun, That's about it. They would be much more qualified to pick this thing apart and make suggestions. How can we make this better? Bowler Medic with the recognition of his 6-month membership. Thank you so much for being a member and supporting this channel. I really do appreciate you. For the casual home arcade, this pin will be good. I think that's really the market. I think it's the people that want a real pinball machine but just can't commit to the big pinball machine price. I think it definitely has. I think it has a place in this new 3/4 arcade world. Things are a little bit different. You have people that are willing to spend a little more money, near $1,000, on some of these arcade recreations. And it's a big step to make something physical like this, but it could absolutely fit in perfectly with a 3/4 scale arcade collection that you may have. But at the end of the day, a physical machine, it's just one game. Are you going to lose interest? Is this going to be worth the investment over a V-pin? Because remember, I've always said it, these are little compromise machines. There's some kind of compromise that's going to happen. At $1,000, it's a real machine. But what's the compromise? The compromise is the size. The compromise is a lack of involvement from a big company like Stern. The compromise could be the lack of a big IP. Maybe you're not going to get a miniature X-Men going on. And those things may come. But as of right now, what we see so far, is it getting you excited about this? Is it making you want to spend the money, make the investment? I think that there's a lot here to look at and pick apart. But for me, I just don't know that I'm quite there yet. I'm very interested. I want to see more. I, like you, I kind of would like to have a real pinball machine in my house, but is this going to really scratch that itch? Or is it going to feel like I just, wasted $1,000? Moving on to the last topic, very much in line with the new poll, the second poll question that is currently in the chat right now. You've got to vote. I need to know. Which XXL are you pre-ordering, the Street Fighter 2 version or the Alpha 2 version? Let me know. It's really going to come down to the look of the cabinets. So that's what I'm really asking you. Basically, like, which one looks better? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I want to know, not me. No, yes, you. You are the one. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with this guy in the truck next weekend. It's going to be awesome. I think, perhaps. We're going to eat a lot of junk food. Eat a lot of beef jerky. Drink, not alcohol. Lots of Monster drinks and coffee, water. It's going to be fun. And see some sights, hopefully. Maybe we'll stop at an arcade or something on the way. Forrestman says, you can't have the ball moving that fast and have a good, consistent experience, in my opinion. I know that, and I'm glad you said that, because my lack of experience, I thought that was just me. Like if the ball's moving that fast, if it's coming back to me that fast, I don't have a lot of time to react and set up my next shot. I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying to save it, right? Because I know if I just try to catch it, if it's coming back that fast, it may bounce off my flipper and drain. I'm like, it sucks. But if it's coming back a little bit slower, then I have a better shot of catching it and setting up my next shot. Now, I think that if they put some obstructions in the way on the return to kind of slow it down, and they can do that with magnets, I mean, whatever. But once again, they're trying to make something that's $1,000 or less. So, but yeah, that's I think I'm kind of with you on that one for sure. Maybe the homebrew pinball community could help review Wonderland. That's a really good point, because they've actually made the homebrew community is great. They've got some wild stuff. Justin and I were, we were all at Pinball Expo, but I went over to the homebrew side. That was wild. They had the one pinball machine where the playfield was like on little airbags. It was moving around. It was nuts. Yeah, Kerry Hardy would be a great guy to really just rip into it. Get your hands on it, play it, and then live stream the gameplay and tell everybody what you think. Or just go in and don't do any live streams, but go in there as a consultant, no video, no pictures, and just tell Wonderland what they need to fix. Hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. And I don't think Kerry would really pull his punches. I think you wouldn't. I think you just let him know, right? You let him have it. And that would be good. That would be good, because you need to hear that up front. You need to hear that to make a much better product. That's the key. What you just said. Is it fun? And that's the thing, because it's one game that you cannot change. Is it worth it for you? For me, nope. VPN trumps real for home use all day, every day. That's this weird position that they find themselves in. They're competing with virtual pinball machine, even though they're a real pinball machine. But because of the compromises, because of the size and the scale, they're kind of competing with things in that same area. So, or that same price point, right? So an arcade one up at 500 to 600 is, roughly the same size. It's not real, obviously. It's virtual. It's got some pretty severe limitations. The screen is rough and pretty small, but it's got 10 games on it, and you can side load more. Now if you're talking about coming in a little bit under, then the 4KP would be the other comparison. But that has, I don't even know, hundreds of games, hundreds of tables. And so for the variety, it's going to win all day long, but it is a little bit more expensive. So it's an interesting thing. I'm curious to see how the Kickstarter goes once they actually make these things available. But they've obviously got to have a good, maybe it's a pre-production model, not a prototype. We got to go beyond prototype. We got to have a good pre-production model with some independent reviewing. Somebody has to put their 2 cents in and say, hey, yeah, I played it. It's fun. Or I played it. I think it's cool. Something, Yes. He would review the crap out of it. Exactly. A $5 super chat from B Kirby. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. It's going to be an expensive summer. You're buying both? A couple of XXLs. I'm buying this pinball table, and if Arcade 1-Up puts out a good XL, I'll buy it. 2025 looks good to you, but bad for your wallet. Thank you so much for your $5 super chat, brother. Really do appreciate you. And you know what? Give you something a little bit special. Where is it at? Down here. Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Finish him. Scrub wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Is it pinball machines for ants? Yes. And what? You got something against ants, Stringer? What? Ants can't play pinball too? Damn, man. All this ant hate in the chat. It's ridiculous. It's uncalled for. There we go. See? Got some ant support. There we go. Ant support. Let's not prejudge until they get further down. Like, no, I'm not trying to prejudge. I'm just trying to say, listen, these are the things that I'm looking for before I consider spending some money on it. And I'm not passing judgment on it yet. I think they've definitely made some good progress for sure. When you consider this thing is really just announced to the public just a few months ago. So they're making progress. They're moving forward. I think that once they get a good pre-production model, we got to get some hands-on to check it out. We have to. But no, I'm with you. This is not a production model. So yeah, it would be unfair to give them too much of a hard time right now for sure. I would say that even if Alice Pinball stays under the price point of the KI Pro, it will keep its collector value because better, even if the game ends up being terrible. It is the first of its kind, I believe. Now, I don't know about every homebrew out there, but the homebrew machines that I've seen are either standard size or really big. I don't know that there's a lot of small. I mean, I've seen some like super small little tabletop stuff, but those things really are cheap. So, as far as like mass production out there, mass produced at this size, yeah, it's going to definitely have some value from a collector standpoint. Yeah, especially if you have maybe you have some real pinball machines. This could fit in well with that. You know, I didn't think about that. Like a little miniature real pinball machine. I mean, it would be something different to have in your collection. You know, hey, Basil, what's going on, buddy? How did I miss the Nova Cat? I have no idea. Looks pretty good for one tip. Well, that's the thing, right? When you look at the price, comparing apples to apples, it's not even close. I mean, if they make this thing interactive and fun, people will line up and pay $1,000 all day long. But we will see. We will see. $2 from my brother Stringer Films says he's got no issues with ants. It's uncles. I have a problem with. Only uncles since he was 5. I think we maybe touching on something that maybe you want to get some professional help with, brother. I'm just saying. I think they probably should have modeled the size of At Games 4KP instead of a 1-up. Yeah, I tend to agree. I tend to agree a little bit bigger, but we'll see. We will see. One thing else we will see is Iconic Arcade. Iconic Arcade. So I had the privilege of being one of the first to check this thing out for reals. And I liked what I saw. I'll just be honest with you. I liked what I saw. But it was not finished. So there's been a ton of hype about this. I think that basically we know what we're getting. I put one together so I can tell you it's very much like an XL arcade 1-up. A little bit bigger though. The dimensions are a little bit bigger, but the build quality and all that is very much the same. If you're a fan of arcade 1-ups, if you have arcade 1-ups, if you're a fan of arcade 1-up XLs specifically, well, you know, I mean, this is exactly up your alley. And Paul Mindeman is in the chat. He loves the XLs. I'm with him 100%. He and I have been banging the drum for more XLs. That should have been the way that arcade 1-up went, but sadly, they just kind of gave up on them. Now, is it a profit thing? Is it a pride thing? Is it a lack of vision? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, the size is good. It's good, right? It's pretty good. But I think it needs a few more things. So let's talk about some of the things that I think that it needs right off the bat. I think if you're going to go with this size and you're going to really go with a 9/10 scale, you got to make this thing a little bit wider. So the total width of this, and they're comparing this, and remember, I made the mistake on my show of comparing it to a Dynamo HS5. That was incorrect. They're modeling this off of a Dynamo HS1. So the Dynamo HS1s had different variations. There was like a second model of an HS1 that was wider. I think they even, you can find some with 25-inch monitors, but those could have been like kits or something that happened after the fact. But the one they're trying to model is that first generation, that first model HS1 with the 19-inch monitor. The interior dimensions of those cabinets, of the control panel itself, was 23 3/4 inches, almost 24 inches, and that's inside to inside. The entire width of the cabinet is 23. So you can see that if the interior dimension was 24 inches, you got to add 1.5 inches because the wood on either side was 3/4 inch, right? So you're looking at was that 24, 25.5 minus 1/4, 25 1/4 inches total width would be the actual width of the actual cabinet. I think they're only 1 inch off on the depth, and they're maybe a couple inches off of the height. I can't remember exactly what that was, but I want to focus on the width, because that is the most important thing to me, because that's where you're going to spend all your time on this control panel. You're going to be side by side, hands are going to be touching, but this is still going to be a better experience than the KI Pro, for example, or the other XL Arcade 1-Ups, because this is actually an inch wider than the Arcade 1-Up XL, but this is an XXL. This is a 9/10 scale. So I think that they should, if they're really going to want to push this for more accuracy, go a little bit wider. Now, they don't have to go the whole 24 inches, but I think they should probably go another inch wider, even though they're already an inch wider than what we have here. And I'm comparing a 21-inch control panel to a 22-inch control panel on the XXL. I think they need to go a little bit wider. Give us another inch. 23 inches will still be 3/4 shy of what the full size is, but still be able to give you the bragging rights of the 9/10 scale. Not full size, just under full size. But give us another inch between player 1 and player 2. That's really where we need it. Just a little bit more. I would love another couple inches to really give us more room. But 1 inch, I think exactly where this should be. So I think the width should be addressed. It should go a little bit wider. And that'll give you more options with other stuff too. But that's where I think they really need to if they change that, that's going to make a huge impact, because what that's going to do is you are going to feel, it's going to feel completely different. When you step up to that, and I'm pointing at an Arcade 1-Up XL, it's fine, right? It's fine. But when you step up to one of these and you've got that much room, it's going to feel radically different. It still feels right at this dimension. It feels very similar. It would feel radically different if you could go a little bit wider. So I think that's something that they should do. They should address. And it's one thing that I'm waiting to see if they will do it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm waiting on my pre-order. The cabinet looks great. I'm talking about the Alpha 2. As far as the art goes, I wouldn't change anything. The marquee was washed out. They need to get a better quality marquee. So that's something they definitely need to do. But other than that, I think there's nothing wrong with any of this. I think they just knocked it out of the park. I like the white T molding. It's great. It's great. The games list of 14 is good. You know, if you pre-order, you'll get Captain Commando was going to be the 15th game if you pre-order. So that's going to be a good games list. You're talking about the games list. Yeah, we've seen Street Fighter 2 a number of times. The alpha games have not been released by Arcade 1-Up. They have not been released in a home arcade stand-up like this, but they have been released on the Evercade. But Street Fighter Third Strike, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, has not been released in this form factor. So that's another one. I think Giga Wing 2 has also not been released. So there's some uniqueness here, and there's some new things to be had. The familiarity with the Raspberry Pi is going to be, I think, a big selling point for a lot of people. It may be a prohibiting factor when we're talking about licensing in the future moving forward. Is that going to be a problem with some licensors saying, hey, I don't want you to just put this on a Raspberry Pi. I'm worried about people stealing our ROMs. And that's obviously not the case with this one. And John's relationship with Capcom, is probably gives him a little more leeway, more so than other licenses. Is this going to play well with Warner Brothers and Midway Games? Mortal Kombat, I'm looking at you. Is this going to be something that's going to prohibit them from doing that? I don't know. So that's something I definitely am cautious about, but that's not something that's going to prohibit me from pre-ordering this cabinet. HDMI out's great. I don't know what the faux coin door. I don't know which one they're going to go with. The one they had was a Retro 530. I don't know what they're going to go with. I love the Retro 530. I love the Arcade 1-Up type style, right? That it's the size and everything is perfect. The lit coin doors, all that's perfect. I don't want them to deviate from that at all. But that's not going to stop me from pre-ordering the cabinet if the coin door is a little bit wonky. 19-inch BOE, very good. Online multiplayer gets into the main reason why I am waiting to order this cabinet. Waiting to pre-order. The UI. Now, the build quality, from what we saw, I thought it was good. It's obviously a prototype. So I talked about this before. Some of the mount, like the monitor mount itself, was just several layers of wood they stacked up just to make do, right? Just to get it in there. They didn't even decase the monitor. It was just still in its shell. It was a computer monitor, still in a computer monitor shell, right? But that's fine. It's fine. I get where they're going. It's no problem. The labeling and some of the connections and the actual underbelly of the control panel was just wood. That should be, that's not going to stay. So I want to know what that looks like. It's going to be something different. But hey, listen, just saying, it makes a difference at this time, because of current licensing agreements. But Midway is just an example. What about any other? What about Konami? Would that be something that Konami would be interested in? Because there's a ton of, there's a ton of Konami games out there we would love. What about Sega? Would Sega be okay with this being on a Raspberry Pi? I don't know. But that's not going to stop me from pre-ordering this cabinet. I talked about the multiplayer. The build quality, like I said, was good. Some of the stuff is obviously, I can overlook it because it's a prototype. What's the number one thing that's giving me pause is the user interface. Now, as it sits right now, what I saw is just running Beta Sarah, and it's just, it's very much just a generic Raspberry Pi build, running the games. That's not going to do it for me. I need to get a look at your UI because it's more than just a slick interface. It has to be very user-friendly. It has to be simple, easy. Similar to what we saw with Arcade One-Ups, but not exactly. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. It has to be something that's going to be quick, responsive. Jumping into a multiplayer game, what's that like? Can you turn that feature off if you don't want to worry about that? Is there going to be lag and delays? Just navigating the menus. What is that going to look like? When we go to launch a game, how long does that take? Does it feel clunky? There's a lot of stuff you got to consider when you're talking about a user interface. That's one of the biggest complaints that we saw with some of the early AtGames products. And then the iArcade, that was their first iteration of the UI, was rough, right? This could be the same thing. Now, I think that John obviously has a lot of experience with where he came from. And I think that if they follow that same sort of feel that some of the Arcade One-Up products had, I think we'll be in good shape. But that remains to be seen. I would like to see at least an early build of the user interface, something, so that we kind of know what direction they're going. Is it going to be just a splash screen, Iconic Arcade, and then right into the games list, what we've seen before? Okay, feels pretty normal. Or is it going to be something a little more complicated? Like there's subcategories and menus, and you got to go to fighters if you want to pick a fighter, and you got to go to that game. I don't know what that's going to feel like. Are you going to have individual setting menus for each individual game? Are you going to have one main setting menu for just the whole game? Are you going to be able to map all the controls? And if that's the case, what does that look like? Are you going to have direct access to the Pi and be able to change all the settings? Because that can look kind of clunky. That can also get you in some trouble if you want to change some of these settings. Or is the Pi going to be totally locked down and you're going to be just stripped down and you're just going to have access to this? I'm not losing sleep. I'm not going to buy it until I know what I'm looking at. And the thing is, we haven't seen anything on that yet. So that's giving me pause. That's why I'm waiting. Teen Fox, he changes into a fox man and roams the night. No. David says, I'm not pre-ordering until they finalize the art and fine details. Refuse to get burned on this. I think that's fair. Now, it is tempting to go ahead and jump in. It's only $350 just to jump in, right now, like a half pre-order. I was talking to Michael B about this, and he's in Canada. He's worried that if he doesn't, the pre-order, the free shipping to Canada is only going to be available for the pre-order process or the pre-order time frame, I guess. Once that period is ended, he's not going to get free shipping anymore. And now he's talking about adding $300 to the price of the cabinet. So I understand that side of the coin. I get that. And that's a different set of circumstances that I have because I'm living in the States. God bless America. So I don't have that concern, but it's a valid concern. But I'm not there yet. I'm waiting to see something. I'm waiting to see more movement on the UI. I'm waiting to see something else. I pre-ordered because I believe in John D. And John D, I saw the guy. I met the guy for the first time. Spent some time with him. I saw his passion. When he was doing those live streams, he was getting emotional. You, like I said, like him, hate him, whatever, you can't deny the man's absolute passion for what he is doing. I've had some conversations with him, kind of offline. And it's always about, can we make it better? Can we make this different? What if we just redesign everything? It's like, whoa, wait, you don't even throw out the baby with the bathwater here. Let's slow down. Those conversations are always going on. I think he has brought this design to us early enough to where it can be affected by community outreach, community support, or lack of support. Gauge that reaction, and how do we counter that? What can we change to make people more excited about it? So, all that being said, I think at the end of the day, we have to have a high standard and say, listen, this looks great. This looks great. But I need to know more before I slap down my hard-earned money. I think that's fair. I think we need to see more of a finished product. I want to see the UI. I want to see something before I put my money down. Now, I haven't bought a 4KP because I've seen some of the issues they've had, and I'm willing to wait and maybe spend a little more money and miss out on a few sales to make sure I know exactly what I'm getting into, because we've been doing this for a while. We've been doing this for a long time, many, many years at this point. And we've all been burned by some stuff, jumped in on stuff that maybe, we jumped in a little too early. Maybe it wasn't all the way cooked all the way, half baked. Didn't work out so well. Wasn't a good experience. Damn, now I'm stuck with this thing. I can't even sell it. Looking at you, iArcade. It had all the promise in the world, but they just couldn't get it going. So I'm waiting. I'm not going to wait forever, but we do have till the summer to get our pre-orders in. It's only January. So I say if you're on the fence, I'm right there with you. There's no reason to jump in just yet. If you are waiting because you want to see the full picture, that's totally feasible. There's nothing wrong with that point of view. I don't want anybody to buy into FOMO because there's no FOMO to be had as of yet. But as we get closer to the summer, hopefully, April, May, we should have a lot of these questions answered. A damn near final version of the product should be out there, revealed, and all your questions, for the most part, should be answered and addressed before it's actually time to go ahead and jump in and make that pre-order. I'm just not there yet. So I'm waiting. I'm cautiously optimistic that things are going to go well, but you just never know. And we don't know what else is going to happen out there. The FU cabinet seems to be a good multi-cade with the rotating monitor feature. There's other developments going on out there. And you and I don't have infinite money. We only have so much money allocated for certain things. So what other development could come out that maybe steals our money first, right? We have to put our money into that. We got to buy that thing. So I'm not there yet. I am cautiously optimistic that things are going to change. Free shipping to the 51st state. Yes. But I'm just not there yet. So the UI, until I can see something on the UI, the user interface, I'm waiting. I'm waiting, because that's got to be right, because that's where you spend all your time. Once you take a look at the side art and it's beautiful, once you take a look at the art on the front of the cabinet and that's beautiful, once you like the size and you figured everything out, you got your controls and you're comfortable with the sticks and the buttons, what are you going to spend all your time with? The majority of your time. It's going to be about 80%, maybe 70% of the game, but then it's going to be the rest of it's going to be the user interface. You're going in and out of menus, navigating this thing. Is it going to crash? Is it going to be reliable? Now, I think the Pi 5 is going to have plenty of horsepower. That's not the problem. The problem is going to be this custom UI that we haven't seen yet. And custom UIs take a long time to develop. So that is why I have not pre-ordered the XXL yet. So if you haven't pre-ordered, it's okay. I'm right there with you. We're in the same boat. It's all right. Don't let the FOMO overtake you. Be confident in your purchases. And the only way to really be confident in your purchases is to know 100% what the hell it is you're even buying. Or would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
The late night post-game edition of the this week's show is over. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. But before you go, I got to talk about the poll question. The second poll question, the more appropriate arcade poll question. And it's simply this: which XXL are you pre-ordering? And before I reveal the actual results, only 66 votes. Right now, I've got 120 people watching. I've had 130, 140 people watching. Only 66 votes. That means that there's a lot of people out there that maybe they've decided they're not going to pre-order this just yet. So it's not all sunshine and roses. Let's go ahead and end the poll right now. And, I can't say I'm surprised. Coming in with the top bid, 59% of the vote is for the Alpha 2. The Alpha 2 cab is going to be pre-ordered, takes the cake with a respectable 40% for the Street Fighter 2. I think some of the hate for that cabinet is valid. I think the side art is not that great. It's not my cup of tea, but I want something a little bit different anyway. So I'm absolutely digging that Alpha 2 cabinet. It looks great. Absolutely great. Hey, girl. Good to see you. So that's where I'm at. Am I going to pre-order it? I want to pre-order it. Hopefully there's no disaster between now and then. Hopefully we get our eyes on some UI. We get some more feedback from people that get to play maybe the final version with the UI to kind of put a lot of our concerns to bed. I would love to be that person. We'll see what happens. I can jump on a plane, no problem. John, let me know. But that's just my 2 cents, everybody. So thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. Members, stay right here. You're going to be automatically redirected to the after show, the members only live stream. If you want to become a member, click the join button right down here. It's only $5 a month, and it really helps out the channel. I really do appreciate it. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. Check out the channel. You have a blessed day, have a blessed week, and I'll see all of you right back here next time. Peace.